week 16 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few tight ends I have as sleepers this week. The first tight end, Mike Gesicki of the Cincinnati Bengals. So this week, a good matchup for Mike Gesicki versus the Browns. Give up the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. And we've seen Gesicki have some decent ball games this year. I know since T. Higgins has been back in the starting lineups, the numbers have gone down for Gesicki, no doubt about it. But the last few weeks, he's still been serviceable. Week 13 versus Steelers, 5 catches, 53 yards. Week 14 at Dallas, 3 catches, 24 yards. And Week 15 at Tennessee, 3 catches, 37 yards. So when you're in a high-powered offense with one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Joe Burrow, I think you could go out there and have a good ball game, and that's exactly the case with Mike Gesicki, I believe. And with a lot of injuries at the tight end position the last few weeks, Dallas Goedert, David Njoku, we don't know if he's going to play, Evan Ingram, so maybe you're streaming tight ends, and I think Gesicki's a decent sleeper streaming option this week. The next tight end, Grant Calcaterra of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Calcaterra's filled in over the last couple of weeks for Dallas Goedert, and we know he's a big target, but the problem is he's the 4th or 5th option in this offense for this Philadelphia Eagle team. When you got guys like Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Hurts with his running ability, you're not going to get the ball much. You're not going to get many targets. And he was the backup for a reason, at least with Dallas Goedert, obviously. He got targets. He was still productive in this offense, but obviously Calcaterra's not getting open and Hurts isn't looking his way. So Week 14 versus the Panthers, 3 catches, 16 yards, a touchdown, 3 targets. And Week 15 versus the Steelers, a catch, 22 yards on the target. So I know this week it's a good matchup on paper at the Washington Commanders. I give up the 18th most points to tight ends on the season, but I just don't think Calcaterra has much upside. So if he can't find the end zone, that's why he's not a highly touted tight end, even filling in for Goedert in a high-powered offense. And that's why he's only a sleeper this week, available in 95% of fantasy leagues. And the final tight end, Brenton Strange of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Strange this season, when he's filled in for Evan Ingram, he's put up some good ball games. And right now, we're out there in 82% of fantasy leagues. And going back to early in the season, filling in Week 2 versus Cleveland, 3 catches, 65 yards. Week 3 at Buffalo, 2 catches, 12 yards, a touchdown. Week 4, 3 catches, 19 yards at Houston. And Week 5 versus Indianapolis, 4 catches, 24 yards, a touchdown. And last week back into the starting lineup where Ingram has a torn labrum and out for the season. 11 catches, 73 yards on 12 targets in Week 15 versus the Jets. So this week, a great matchup at the Vegas Raiders. Give up the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. And Strange, he's a big target. Him and Mac Jones have good rapport, playing together at the second unit all at training camp. And also during the season as well with the second team in practice. So with the rapport there, and Strange, a big target and the number 2 option in this offense now behind Brian Thomas Jr. with all the injuries to Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Evan Ingram out of the lineup. I think Strange, he could be a top 10 tight end in fantasy points this week, and obviously a sleeper option available in 82% of fantasy leagues. That's a few tight ends I have as sleepers for Week 16 of the fantasy football season.